My fiancé claimed his female best friend was like a sister to him until I found out they secretly eloped in Vegas, 2 weeks before our scheduled wedding, using the honeymoon fund my parents gifted us. I found the marriage certificate while looking for our passports. 2 weeks before my wedding. My hands shook so hard I dropped it twice before my brain processed what I was seeing. Clark Brandon Mitchell married to Jessica Marie Torres. Dated 5 days ago. Clark Chapel of Las Vegas. The same weekend he was supposedly at a medical conference in Phoenix. My parents had gifted us $15,000 for our honeymoon. Dad took extra shifts at the warehouse. Mom sold her grandmother's jewelry. For our princess to see Europe properly, they'd said, crying at our engagement party. I'd watched Clark tear up thanking them, promising he'd take care of me, that their sacrifice meant everything. That money was gone from our joint account. I'd noticed it 3 days ago. Investment opportunity from a colleague, he'd said, kissing my forehead. Trust me, this will double by the time we're in Paris. Jessica. His best friend since college. The one who was basically his sister. The one whose apartment he'd crash at when we fought. The one who called him crying about breakups at 2 a.m. The one I was insecure about for 3 years until he finally convinced me I was being toxic and controlling. She was my bridesmaid. She'd helped me pick my dress. She'd held my hair during my bachelorette party, telling me how lucky Clark was, how she'd never seen him love anyone like he loved me. The worst part? I'm the one who suggested Vegas. 3 months ago, when Jessica was going through her depression after another breakup. Take her somewhere fun, I'd told Clark. She needs her best friend. Maybe Vegas? You guys could do a siblings trip. He'd resisted at first. Said it would be weird without me. I insisted. Bought his plane ticket myself because I felt guilty about a fight we'd had where I asked him to set boundaries with her. See? I trust you both. I'm not the jealous girlfriend you think I am. They'd posted photos. Gambling. Drinking. Club scenes. Jessica in a white dress I'd complimented, just feeling myself again. She'd captioned. Clark in his grandfather's suit jacket, the one he was saving for special occasions. I'd liked every photo. Commented heart emojis. Sent them money for a nice dinner through Venmo. Treat yourselves. Love you both. My sister had warned me. My best friend Rachel had warned me. My therapist had gently suggested I explore why I was comfortable with such fluid boundaries. I cut them all off, one by one. My sister was jealous because she was single. Rachel didn't understand male-female friendships. My therapist was projecting her own trust issues. Clark and Jessica validated me, told me how mature I was, how evolved, how secure. Other women could never, Jessica would say, linking arms with both of us. You're so lucky, Clark. A girlfriend who gets it. I called him. He was at Jessica's. Of course he was. Planning the final wedding stuff, he texted an hour ago. She's helping with the playlist since you're stressed about work. Hey babe, he answered. Casual. Normal? Jessica laughing in the background. We're thinking about doing your dad's favorite song for the father-daughter dance. I found the certificate. Silence. Then Jessica's voice, muffled, what's wrong? Then shuffling. Then the phone disconnected. He didn't come home that night. Or the next. His location sharing was still on, they were at her apartment. Then his apartment that I'd never been invited to see because it was being renovated for the past year. Then a hotel. Together. As a married couple. While 200 guests were preparing to fly in for our wedding. While my dress hung in our closet. While the vendors waited for final payments. My mom called asking about the menu tasting we were supposed to do. I couldn't tell her. Couldn't form the words that her savings, her mother's rings, her dreams of walking me down an aisle after dad, they were financing someone else's honeymoon. Someone else's elopement. Someone else's life. I went through everything then. Really went through it. Credit card statements. Text records I'd never checked because trust is the foundation of love. The apartment Jessica was always at? Clark's name was on the lease. Had been for 6 months. The weekend trips to see her family? Their engagement photos were all over her private Instagram, the one I wasn't allowed to follow because she kept it just for family. The medical conferences? Wedding planning trips. Venue tours. Cake tastings. Everything I'd been doing with Clark for our real wedding, he'd been doing with her for their real wedding. The pregnancy test fell out of her purse at my bachelorette party. We'd all squealed. I'd bought it from her, drunk and emotional, saying I couldn't wait to be pregnant at the same time as my sister. She'd cried. Said she wasn't pregnant. That it was negative. That she was so broken about it. I'd held her all night, promised her she'd find someone, that she'd be a mom someday. Clark had picked her up the next morning, carried her to his car because she was too hungover to walk. Kissed her forehead when he thought I wasn't looking. I thought it was sweet how much he cared about his friend. She was pregnant. Their announcement is how everyone found out about the marriage. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell are expecting. Vegas blessed us twice. Posted the day before what would have been my wedding. In the comments, his mom, who'd been too sick to meet me for 3 years, wrote, "Finally. I've been waiting for you two to stop pretending for so long." Pretending. That's what I was. A 3-year performance of normalcy while they conducted an entire relationship around me, through me, funded by me. Every fight Clark and I had about Jessica ended with him staying at her place. Every boundary I tried to set got labeled as toxic jealousy. Every instinct I had got therapized away as insecurity and trust issues and projection from your parents' divorce. The wedding was supposed to be in 12 hours when I started making calls. 200 guests. My voice flat, factual, the wedding is cancelled. Clark is already married. No, this isn't a joke. Yes, to Jessica. I'm sorry about your flights. Each call got easier. By the 50th, I could say it without crying. By the 100th, I was laughing. The hysterical kind that makes people uncomfortable. My parents drove through the night. Dad didn't say anything, just started loading boxes. Mom sat on the floor of what had been our bedroom, holding the wedding dress I'd never wear, crying the kind of tears that come from your stomach. We gave them everything, she kept saying. My mother's rings. Everything. The rings. Jessica was wearing them in her Vegas photos. The costume jewelry she'd found at a vintage store. I'd complimented them. Said they looked like my grandmother's. She'd laughed. Great minds think alike. The financial devastation was immediate. The wedding vendors wouldn't refund anything, too close to the date. The honeymoon was non-refundable and already transferred to their names. The apartment was Clark's. I'd been paying rent to live in his property while he built equity. 3 years of paying half of everything while he saved for their life. The joint account was empty. The credit cards I was authorized on? Cancelled. The car I drove? His name. The phone plan? Cut off. I had nothing but clothes and debt from a wedding that would never happen. But the social devastation was worse. The friend group split, but not evenly. Clark and Jessica had been laying groundwork I didn't see. She's so controlling. She never lets us hang out. She's jealous of our friendship. We're worried about her mental health. They turned me into the villain of their love story, the crazy girlfriend keeping soulmates apart. Our mutual friends had been at their Vegas wedding. Posted photos I was now seeing. Congratulating them for finally being free to love each other. Free from me. Rachel took me in. The friend I dropped for being unsupportive. She didn't say I told you so. Just held me while I screamed into her couch pillows and showed me the screenshots she'd been saving for 3 years. Messages from people who'd seen them together. Photos from parties I wasn't invited to where they were clearly a couple. The paper trail of my humiliation that everyone could see but me. The group chat messages started leaking. Jessica's bridesmaids, my bridesmaids, had a separate thread. 3 years of messages about me. Playing the perfect girlfriend again. She has no idea. Clark says she's suffocating but he feels too bad to leave. Jessica deserves better than being the side piece. Once they're married for real, we can stop pretending we like her. My cousin was in the chat. My own cousin. Just a little longer, she'd written. Once they're married, we never have to see her again. I threw up for 3 days straight. Couldn't eat for a week. Lost 15 pounds by the time what should have been my wedding day arrived. I spent it in Rachel's bed, watching their Instagram stories from a fake account. They were in Paris. Using my parents' money. Posting from the hotel I'd booked. Eating at the restaurant where Clark had proposed to me. Jessica in lingerie I helped her pick out for her next boyfriend. Clark in the watch I'd saved 6 months to buy him. Both wearing rings bought with money that was half mine. The pregnancy progressed. Baby shower invitations went out to all our former friends. The theme? Finally complete. The registry was full of things I'd saved in my Pinterest. The nursery design I'd shown Clark when we talked about kids. The names we'd picked out together on our 2nd anniversary. She was living every moment I'd planned, every future I'd saved for, every dream I described to her during our girls' nights where she'd take notes on her phone for her future husband. My therapist, a new one who didn't know Clark, said I was experiencing betrayal trauma and reality collapse. That my entire perceived world had been false. That recovering would take years. That trusting again might be impossible. She was right. I started having panic attacks whenever anyone was nice to me. If they complimented me, they were lying. If they invited me somewhere, it was a setup. If they said they loved me, they were performing. I moved back home at 32. Slept in my childhood bed. Applied for jobs in cities where no one knew me. Deleted every social media account. Changed my phone number. Tried to disappear completely. But their announcement found me anyway, through my mom's Facebook that I'd forgotten existed. Welcome baby Lucas Clark Mitchell. Our miracle, our blessing, our everything. Worth the wait and the fight to be together. The fight. I was the fight. The obstacle. The thing keeping true love apart. 6 months later, I ran into them at the grocery store in our hometown. Jessica saw me first. Her face went white. She grabbed Clark's arm. He turned, saw me, and pulled her closer. Protective. Like I was dangerous. Like I might hurt them. Their baby was beautiful. Lucas had Clark's eyes and Jessica's nose. The family I'd dreamed of. The life I'd paid for. How are you? Jessica asked. Like we were old friends. Like she hadn't fucked my fiancé for 3 years. Like she hadn't stolen my parents' life savings. Like she hadn't worn my grandmother's rings while marrying my boyfriend. I wanted to scream. To cause a scene. To tell everyone in the store what they'd done. Instead, I said, I'm great. Really great. My voice sounded normal. Pleasant even. Congratulations on everything. Clark finally spoke. We never meant for it to happen this way. Yes, you did. I was surprised by my own calmness. You meant for exactly this to happen. You planned it. You executed it. You documented it. The only thing you didn't mean was for me to find out before the wedding. You needed me to be humiliated publicly, left at the altar, the crazy ex who couldn't let go. That would have been cleaner for your story. Jessica started crying. You don't understand. We're soulmates. We tried to fight it. The universe. The universe didn't steal my parents' money. The universe didn't lie to my face for 3 years. The universe didn't make you my bridesmaid while you were fucking my fiancé. That was you. Both of you. Every day. Every choice. Every lie. I left my full card in the aisle and walked out. Sat in my car until my hands stopped shaking. Then drove to Rachel's, where I was staying while apartment hunting. She opened the door before I knocked. I saw them at the store. Someone texted me. Are you okay? No. It was the first honest thing I'd said in months. I'm not okay. I don't know if I'll ever be okay. I don't know how to trust anyone again. I see lies everywhere. I can't even trust myself because I was so wrong for so long. She hugged me. You weren't wrong. You were lied to. There's a difference. But there wasn't. Not really. Because I'd known. Somewhere, in some part of me I'd silenced, I'd known. Every time they laughed at an inside joke. Every time she knew his order without asking. Every time he defended her over me. Every time they accidentally matched outfits. Every time she touched him just a little too long. Every time he lit up when her name appeared on his phone. I knew. I just loved him more than I loved the truth. A year later, I'm in therapy twice a week. I have a job in a new city. I live alone with a cat who doesn't require trust, just food. I don't date. Can't. The last guy who asked me out seemed nice, normal, sweet. But his female best friend called during dinner, and I had a panic attack in the restaurant bathroom. Hyperventilating on the floor, convinced history was repeating. He thought I was insane. Maybe I am. Clark and Jessica are still married. Still posting their perfect family. Still in our friend group, who've all moved on like I never existed. Like those 3 years were just a glitch in their matrix. My replacement in history is seamless. Photos from trips where I've been cropped out, replaced with Jessica photoshopped in. Stories where Clark's ex becomes this crazy girl Clark dated briefly. My erasure is so complete that new people in their lives don't even know I existed. The money was never returned. My parents don't talk about it. The wedding dress still hangs in their closet because mom can't bear to donate it. The thank you cards I'd addressed sit in boxes in their garage. The future I'd planned lives in someone else's Instagram feed. Last week, I saw their pregnancy announcement for baby number 2. The caption, "Our love story continues." The comments flooded with hearts and congratulations. You too restore my faith in soulmates. The way you fought for each other. True love always wins. True love. They're not wrong. Clark and Jessica were true love. I was just the financial and emotional support system that made their true love possible. The stability that let them play out their romance. The cover story that kept their families happy while they figured out their timeline. The investor who didn't know she was funding someone else's startup. I still wake up sometimes thinking I'm engaged. For 3 seconds, I'm happy. Then I remember. The certificate. The empty account. The wedding that happened without me. The life built on my foundation. The family funded by my family. The future stolen from my past. The hardest lesson? There's no justice in this. No karma. No redemption. They won. They got everything. Each other. The money. The friends. The family. The story where they're heroes who overcame obstacles for love. And I'm the obstacle they overcame. The crazy ex. The cautionary tale. The one who was too blind to see what everyone else knew. But I know the truth. Late at night, when I can't sleep, when the panic attacks come, when trust feels impossible, I know the truth. They're not soulmates. They're co-conspirators. Their love story isn't a romance. It's a heist. And I was the mark who made it all possible. I'll never get married now. Not because I don't want to, but because I can't. Every proposal would feel like a setup. Every I love you would sound like a lie. Every female friend would look like Jessica. Every man would look like Clark. They didn't just steal my money, my wedding, my future. They stole my ability to believe in love. That's the real theft. Everything else was just money.